Welcome to episode 51, rock, guitar, and the major scale. That's what we're talking about today in Boomer Guitar Sessions. Rock, guitar, and the major scale. Why do we need to know the major scale? Well, this recently I was hanging out with a friend, and he was talking about Billy Sheehan, who is in a band called Mr. Big. He also played with David Lee Roth's band. He also played with a band called Talus. Does a lot of stuff. But he's an all-star bass player. And one of the things he was doing a couple years back was he was offering lessons. So you could spend an hour with Billy Sheehan, and it would be $500. And he would show you all the things that nobody else could show you. But what was funny about it, and maybe I don't want to say funny is probably the wrong word, is that a lot of the people he encountered who came to his Nashville or near Nashville home to take a lesson, $500, they didn't know the basic stuff. And he couldn't really show them all the stuff that he wanted to show them, because the basic fundamental things that everything is built off of, he couldn't show them. So what is the basic stuff? So major scales at the beginning of, like, when we talk about music theory, it is like I say this, it is like the vanilla of everything. When I say that, I was watching the Learning Channel, and they were talking about how do we make ice cream. How it's made was probably the show, and the guy goes, I start with a base of vanilla, and then I add things in from there. I add different flavors in from there, and I keep track of it, and that's how we come up with different concoctions. But vanilla is always the base. Well, in music terms, the base and everything that we listen to is kind of the major scale, because when we say something like a minor scale, what is a flat 3? Well, in order to know what a flat 3 is, you got to know what a 3 is. And the 3 is a degree within the major scale. So, major scale, we've talked a little bit about the major scale before. The basic music theory: whole step, half step, whole step, half step. 2 wholes followed by a half, 3 wholes followed by a half. And then what you do with it, one of the first things you can do with it, we've talked about this before, was you can line it up on a single string. So when you have whole step, half step, followed by 3 whole steps and a half step, you get something that sounds like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which is the major scale. Okay, go back to the unitar videos, go back to the basic music theory videos. That is something we've talked about before. But what we haven't talked about before is how do we apply this? Like, how does this work in our music theory? And also some practical fingerings, some symmetrical fingerings that we can use, that we learn how to play the scale in one position, so it is not just in a linear thing. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about that. So what you want to do, first thing you want to do is we want to learn the fingering of a major scale. So I'm going to start on the low E string in the key of G. When I say the key of G, we're going to start on a G note, 3rd fret. And only 1 octave. We're only going to worry about 1 octave today. So the fingering, this is a symmetrical fingering. And when I say that, it's movable around various string sets. Now you got to do some adjusting. Okay, so the fingering, in the notes, in the comments below, you're going to have a link that'll get you to the fingering that I'm playing here. But this fingering, notice that when I add a finger, like my 2nd finger, and I add my 4th finger, I don't lift this. And also when I go to the next string, I keep all those fingers down. on the last string, it's going to be 1, 3, 4. So 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. So that is a major scale. Now, why do we need to know major scales? Because like in rock guitar, a lot of people that play it, they're like, okay, I know my blues, I know how to do stuff in blues, and I know how to do stuff in minor for all the metal guys. And I once heard George Lynch say, if you stuck a gun to my head, I couldn't play you a major scale. Well, that's because everything you do has the same kind of sound to it. When we want to play different kinds of music, so we just want to play pop, we want to play reggae, we want to play ska, we want to bring other things into our mix of styles. And my thing is, mixture of styles is the coolest way to do it. Not to be generically any one style, but to have elements of lots of different styles. So in order to do that, the major scale can help out greatly. It's like, I don't even say it's a third of what we know. We have 3 different kinds of tonalities. We have majors, we have the minors, the happies, the sads, and then we have the dominant, which is the bluesier stuff. So it's important. And then, so work on that fingering. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to play that same scale, and instead of not saying anything, I want you to number each of those notes. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now what that is, that is a numbering system, the numbered G major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now you can root for rock guitar players, for pop guitar players. You can root major chords off of some of these chords. You can root minor chords off of some of these notes, which we'll explain momentarily. Through most of them, you can root power chords. So power chords, roots and fifths. Okay, so with that said, so this is in rock music theory, you have your primary chords, and they are rooted off the 1, the 4, and the 5. So 1, 4, 5. That's your primary chords in any major key. Okay, so that's 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 4, 1, 5, 4, 1, 5. Now, if that's 5, up 2 frets is going to be 6. And that's a common one that we get into as well. 1, 5, 6, 4. So this is 4. 3 is going to be down. 3 is going to be there. 1 fret down from 4. There's your 2. 2 is also a whole step up from the root. All right. So from the primary chords, and the 6th chord is going to be what we call the relative minor chord. But anyway, so using this numbering system to understand chord changes, that is one of the reasons why we want to learn the major scale. It helps us understand chord changes, and then the melodies you would sing and play over top of that are notes like the substantial notes and the notes that are that are really Strong notes are going to be either chord tones or scale tones. Okay, and combinations and chords come from scales anyway. So with that said, there's your power chords. The 1, 4, 5 in. Those are going to be your major chords. The 1, 4, 5 in the major scale. When I say relative minor, that means it's a 6. And that's, you can play all the same notes starting on the E note. And that's a natural minor scale for that's going to be for another lesson. All right, but anyway, so primary chords, secondary chords are going to be 2, 3, and 6. Okay, the 6 is relative minor. Okay, now there's going to be one more note that we're going to check out, and this is what I call the half-step substitute chord. When I say that, we typically don't use like the diminished triad as the 7th chord of a major scale, which is what you'll learn if you take music theory in high school or even basic college stuff. That's the way they're going to teach it to you. What popular music does, what country music does, what rock does, what stuff that has a guitar does, more often than not, it is what I call, again, the half-step substitute chord. And what it is, it's just an inverted 5 chord. The 5 chord in the key of G is a D chord. Okay? So that D chord, it's an inverted D in that the 3rd of the D is going to be in the bass, and the 3rd of D is F sharp. So the 7 chord, Rod Boomer guitar session way, it's going to be the D/F sharp. Go to the 5 chord and play the 3rd of the 5 in the bass, and that's your 7 chord substitute. It is actually used. It's used often. All right. I'm as free as a bird, etc. All right. So this fingering again. I said it's symmetrical, and what that means is we can move it to another string set. Now it's identical. We move it to the A string set, where the A string is the root note. Fingering is exactly the same. All right. If we move it next down to the D, we're going to have to adjust the high string up a fret. But it's also, this is something you can practice too. This is called a pentachord. One, two, three, four, five. So major scale set, and then shift up a fret. 1, 3, 4. Then okay, and then the last one's a little hokey. It is not a 2-finger root. It is a 1. It's the first finger is the root. So, but anyway, you can take that fingering. that's a really cool little time save, learning your major scales all over the place. And then I have another scale fingering you can, that'll be a future lesson. But anyway, learning your major scales, that's a basic thing. And also learn the numbering system. Okay, another thing is this is movable. So if I went like this, we'd be in the key of A. And then when we say I'm in the key of A, that by default means A major. Okay, it's not A minor. When we say we're in the key of A, the song's in the key of A. That's the key of A major. All right, so it's 1. Okay, another thing we got. Okay, this is your 1, 5, 6, 4, 1. You want to go down to 6, you go down 3 frets. This is your 1 to 6. The 1 half step substitution, the inverted 5 chord. 6, 4. Anyway, this applies the major scale to lots of, as a popular music, but rock music, it's in lots and lots and lots of stuff. Okay, so the major scale is important. Check it out. There'll be more lessons in this in the future, I'm sure. How do we go further in this? But this will get you started with the major scale. Thank you. This is Rod. Boomer Guitar Sessions, episode 50, run rock guitar in the major scale. Enjoy the process. I'm grateful for you, and see you next time. Hi, this is Rod from Boomer Guitar Sessions. I personally wanted to thank you for being part of our community. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of it, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And this helps me spread my musical messages to all over the world. Thank you. I appreciate you. And always remember,